attempt to anchor the economy. You can see that those deliberate choices of the government are beginning to lead to broad-based stability of the economy, not just one-phase stability. And you can also see programs that have been identified to anchor the economy and ensure sustainability. Let me give you some examples. We are aware that going forward, one of the major risks to our economy and to the fiscal side of it is the harms that are ahead of us. When I say harms, I'm talking about bigger bullet payments that the government has to make and whether the government is preparing to meet them. So you are going to pay 20 billion next year to service debt. The following year you are paying 50 billion to service the debt. The following year you have to find 45 billion. And these are just the domestic debt. When you come to the foreign debt, you are looking at 1.4 billion, moving to 1.1 billion and 1.14 billion. Now, and these are in dollars. So how do you get the comfort that you will be able to scale these risks and be able to keep the economy on sound footing? And you would see that there is a deliberate attempt to go back to the sinking fund. And the government has announced that it has set up two sinking funds, one for the cedi and one for the dollar. So that means that over the period, government is going to ensure that monies are made available and ready so that the buffers are built to take off these debts when they occur. The second one you would see is also that my brother mentioned the fact that lending rates are not coming down as expected. How do we affect the lending rates? So here you see a coordination between the Ministry of Finance or the fiscal side and monetary policy. Now, when monetary policy, if you look at the last open market operations of the central bank, the interest rate was around 24%. It was about 14% basically from 24%. What that means, and also the government's own treasury bill rates are low. These are the variables that affect the Ghana reference rate, which is the base rate. So the base rate takes 40% of treasury bill rate, and it has come down significantly. So if you take 40%, it gives you a lower figure. It takes 40% of policy rate, and the monetary policy rate that we are seeing from the last 56-day operation was about 13%. So you take 40% of that, it will be smaller. Then you take a further 20% of the treasury bill rate. So all the variables that are impacting the reference rate are taking a downward trend. So when all these begin to feed in, you will see a reduction in government interest rate and a reduction in Bank of Ghana's own operation rates, affecting the lending rate through the Ghana reference rate. So you will begin to see that happen in future. Now you should also see that there is a clear attempt between the government or the fiscal side and monetary policy to share the burden of stabilizing the economy. So initially you would have seen that the central bank's, the Bank of Ghana borrowing on treasury bills was higher than the interest rate that the Bank of Ghana was charging to mop up the excess liquidity. What it means is that the central bank was taking the hit for the additional interest costs, and the government of Ghana was not. Now you are beginning to see the central bank say that, look, let's shift it downward so that there is liquidity to fund the government. Okay, right. That then means that if there's any burden, it's going to shift also to the fiscal side. So that is a deliberate strategy. Okay. It is not by chance.
Thank you.
And the aim is to ensure that once you are mopping up the excess liquidity and you are stabilizing the economy, you are sustaining that because then there is no excess liquidity to feed into the forex market.
Right. What can you say in 2 minutes so I can get a minute each for Odrosai and
2 minutes will very easy.
Because our time is up. Because our time is up.
Right, but
yes, this is where you. It's a major reason you are here.
So let me now make it quick, and I want to put in a quick. The finance minister should know that he sits on a seat that is continuous. My advice to him is that he should stop trying to bring propaganda into his work. He's made some utterances in the last couple of days that is not based on any fact, with the gold for oil issue, where I actually brought my letter from Bank of Ghana to actually show that most of the things that he's saying, Bank of Ghana disagrees with him.
Can you read that?
Yes, I can. Oh, no, you can read it.
No,
But basically, you want me to read it?
You speak to it.
You want me to speak to it?
Yes.
Okay, so quickly. The Minister of Finance said that there was no gold bought in the gold for oil. And he said that to Evans. Evans had a pushback with him, and he went on to say that it's not true. It was cash that Bank of Ghana was paying, what do you call it, for the gold for oil. They were giving cedis to Bank of Ghana, and Bank of Ghana was paying cash to the importers, which was not true, the statement he made. Bank of Ghana, in our letter to them, we asked them, the losses incurred were primarily on gold and petroleum transactions. Detail provided below. Loss on gold transaction amounted to 1.8 billion, which were mainly due to exchange rate differential, the exchange rate which in the gold market for gold purchases, and the bank internal rate. What does this say? It means that in buying gold, the Bank of Ghana gave money to PMMC. PMMC went into the market to buy gold. The rate they used at the local market was different from the internal rate of Bank of Ghana. So in buying gold for oil, the bank made a loss for 1.8 billion.
Is there a right to information request you made?
Yes, I did. Yes, right to
When is
information.
it dated?
But what does that mean when you say
It
that?
means that the minister said that there was no gold involved in the gold for oil. But there is a letter from Bank of Ghana that said that they made a loss in buying gold. And again, there is no, let me land. Let me land.
Because you are misquoting the minister.
I'm not. But you can play the video. He said there is no gold involved.
You are misinterpreting what you are doing.
No, I'm not. Because
you are misinterpreting.
How am I
misinterpreting? They go and buy oil with dollars, not gold.
No.
What is happening?
Okay, so Sam Process, another point I was going to make. Yeah. There is a company in Dubai called Sam Processing Metal.
Yeah.
There's a metal account set up with Sam Processing Metal, which shows
so they go and put metal there?
No,
they send them dollars.
To trade gold, you have to have a metal account.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you're
that.
A professional, you should know this.
What
Let's
I'm
not
saying
go there.
They pay dollars. They pay dollars, not gold.
Please listen.
The minister never left. They pay dollars.
Thank you. They say that the program helped to reduce demand for US dollars from the bulk oil distributors, BDCs, and so on.
Thank you. These are things the Bank of Ghana is saying.
No, my brother, they pay dollars.
He lied. He never. Listen,
he never.
There were two stages of. My brother, what I'm saying to you is that's what I'm saying. There was time, but we can always arrange it. Let me quickly make my point. My point I was going to make before this gold for oil, and he.
You are misinterpreting.
I'm not
okay, so go to that point quickly.
No, I'm not. Please don't do that. You can read for yourself.
No, I know.
No, but you can read for yourself.
It's okay.
If you have it, your minister will
what he sent to you is information that
proceed with your point quickly because our time is up.
He never lied.
The point I want he lied. The point I wanted to make is that the economy is on a certain trajectory, right? You cannot read the budget and say that the country is in a struggling, blah, 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 trying to make it like there's something that there's no V-curves in the plot of the graph of the budget. We went from 3.1 real growth. I'm talking about real GDP growth. 2023, there was 3.1. We went from 3.1 to 5.7. You are now projecting to go to 6.8. So it tells you that the country is on the right path. When you look at manufacturing did 6.8. The NDC government in the last 6 months have not done anything to help manufacturing.
What is the growth?
For manufacturing, 6.8.
No, Kenneth.
6.8 in your midterm. In your first quarter.
Okay, so could you
6.8. So the point I'm trying to make quickly is that they should give credit where credit.
Thank you. You have to pardon me, and we have to rearrange.